They're a way to see things about your data that's constantly changing. And these live tiles are the heart and soul, in our opinion, of Windows Phone. The tile is a simple and elegant thing, but it's really powerful, and no other phone has these tiles. When someone starts putting their stuff into one of our phones, it officially becomes their phone from the inside out in a more profound way than any other smartphone does. It literally gets powered by their passions and interests, by their likes and their loves, and the things and people they care about most. We know that our users really love their phones, and we think the biggest reason is that live tiles make the phone so special and so personal. It's like a unique fingerprint that reflects each and every part of them. These live tiles are essentially the face of Windows Phone, and in Windows Phone 8, we're going to make that face more beautiful and even more personal. So I am pretty happy to introduce to you today the new Windows Phone 8 Start Screen. Our users have told us they want it to be more customizable and personal, and we've listened. We're putting people in total control of their live tiles. Now, not only can they pin the stuff they want, whether it's a person or an app, they can also set the size of any tiles. If they're really into text and SMS, they can make the messaging tile really big. If they're not so into email, you can shrink the email down to a small size so you can not have to deal with as many large things on your screen. If you're a power user, you can get lots of apps and tiles on your screen and reduce the amount of scrolling that's necessary, and all of those tiles are still live. No other phone can do anything like this. The result is that Windows Phone is even more personal than it has been in the past, and that's pretty darn personal. So now people won't just be buying a phone, it'll be Tom, the music lover, getting a music lover phone, or Laura, the social butterfly, getting a social butterfly phone. There's Anna, the bookworm, with her bookworm phone, and Dave, the sports nut, with his configured for sports phone. Robin, the news junkie, has her news junkie phone, and Mike Jones, the accountant by day but gamer by night, has his precisely Mike Jones phone. It's the best of what Windows Phone is today, and we're building it to be even better. Exactly, precisely, and deeply personal for you. So now that you've seen their phones, I want to give you a demo of my phone. So I'm going to walk over here. Thank you, actually, thank you. I'm going to walk over here and start a demo of Windows Phone 8. And so what you see on screen here, this is my Windows Phone 8 device. I'm going to unlock it. There's my new start experience. Let me tell you a little bit about what I am showing you. For those of you taking photos, I want to let you know this is prototype hardware. It's an engineering device built by Nokia. It's not ID that will ship, although it does contain the technology guts that we're lighting up with the new Windows Phone 8 platform. This is a dual-core device. It has a high-resolution screen. It has NFC built in. I'm going to show you many of those things. Let me go over here. I also have a Windows 8 Slate. Let me unlock this. And I will tell you this Windows 8 Slate is also not any particular hardware. This is not a Surface. Our Surface devices have all been in LA for the Surface launch that just happens, and so we don't have any of them here today. You're looking at a standard Samsung Windows 8 Slate here. But let me talk about this live tiles thing just for a little bit. The intent in our changing the live tiles support in Windows Phone 8 was not just to make live tiles more personal, but to give a consistent experience between Windows 8 live tiles and Windows Phone 8. So as a matter of example, those of you who have used Windows 8 are familiar with how this works. I can choose any tile as an end user and do customization like making those tiles smaller. And of course, as you'd expect, I can choose any tile and I can move these tiles around on the screen as you've seen on Windows Phone as well. It's the idea of putting the user in control of their tiles. And similarly, I can now have control of my tiles on the phone. So I'm going to go through a few simple steps here and show you exactly how this works. So like you saw in the video, first thing I'm going to do is I'll go into customization mode, same as today, press and hold, and I'm going to increase the size of my messaging tile, just as you saw in the video. It's as easy as touching that resize arrow there. I like that tile big because I'm into texts. So now what I'm going to do is switch over here and change the size of the phone tile. I'm going to make it small. Of course, it stays live in its small size, and I'm going to put it into the space I vacated with the messaging tile. Now I'm going to scroll down here and start to emphasize the people in my life that I care about most. So I'm going to make Terry big, maybe not that big. We'll choose the happy medium size for Terry so I can see when he's bugging me with texts or messages or emails or calls. Then I'm going to take my Skype tile that got orphaned down here and slide it up here into the offset layout position. You can see how I've got my medium tiles offset if I like a little bit more of an alternate perspective on life. I'm going to go down here to the me tile. Same me tile you've seen today, but I'm going to shrink it to the small size because I already know what I am up to. I don't need to use more space on myself. And I'm going to take the number one most important person in my life, my wife Christina, and slide her up here into the pole position. So as she does Facebook posts, LinkedIn posts, sends me texts, calls me, I'm going to get all of those notifications right there on her live tile at the top of my screen. Very straightforward, consistent with what Windows Phone users are already doing today, but enables much more personal layouts and capability. And by the way, for those of you that have asked for more colors, we're delivering more colors too. Now let me scroll down and you'll see down here towards the bottom of my start menu, I've taken advantage of this to maybe add a little bit more personality in my own phone's layout. Up there at the top you can see I've put pictures of all my kids. I've got a little games area I set up with the Games Hub and some third-party apps and games I've posted. And one of the things I want to point out in particular, if you look at the Groupon tile or these two weather tiles, these are current Windows Phone 7.5 apps that are unmodified and installed and running as part of Windows Phone 8. And their live tiles, which were originally authored for a different size, are running and look terrific on this high-res screen with a different tile size. So all that application compatibility is part of Windows Phone 8, including live tiles in the new Start experience. But what I want to show you is, here's an example of an app that's been updated to support the new live tile sizes. In particular, that's Nokia Drive. You can see here I've got the Nokia Drive tile in small size, but when I resize, I can go to a full large size tile, and now the app has a much bigger canvas for giving me notifications or graphic information, and we've made this API set much more rich, so software developers can do even more interesting things on Windows Phone 8 than they could on Windows Phone 7.5. I can also resize that to the medium size, and one of the things you see here, the tile changes its display to match the size I choose, and when I'm done with that, I'm going to put it back to the small size so I maintain the visual integrity of my layout for the rest of the demo. The point is, it is a platform feature, and it's one that we think software developers are going to be thrilled to put new benefit into and give end users great new ways to learn about the features and benefits of their apps and be drawn into using their apps even more. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is some parts of that core technology platform and show you a little bit about how the developer experience and end user experience is improved by that code that is in common between Windows Phone and Windows PCs. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go down and open the Terry Myerson tile, where you can see Terry has been communicating with me a bit. If I scroll down, you can see there's an email he sent me, "Is this real?" Well, let's take a look at this, because I want to talk about IE10 and the shared core parts of IE10 and how the IE10 user experience takes advantage of its scale across the PC and the phone. So here's Terry sending me this mail. "Hey Joe, do you think this is real?" It's from probably not Bill Gates at contosomail.com. Subject, $1 million. I found this site that lets you instantly sign up to win $1 million in cash. Now, Terry is actually a moderately tech-savvy user, as you might expect, running the Windows Phone group. So it's not likely that Terry himself would be duped into clicking on this link and have some malicious website do something to him. But unfortunately, there really are a lot of people who click these things, and it causes incentive for people to create more of them. And I happen to know this as a fact because people in my family really do send me emails like this asking me this question. Sorry, Mom, that's true. But what happens in Windows Phone 8, because of IE10's huge network of end users, is that when I click the link, IE10 detects that this website has been reported on as unsafe. And actually, I'm going to launch a similar website on my Slate so you can see the consistent experience that happens on the phone, on the Slate, on the laptop, and on the PC. This is the network of all of those devices with common code and a common service protecting the user against malicious sites that seek to steal their identity or do other kinds of bad things with their personal information. And now that benefit goes from Windows on the desktop or laptop or Slate to Windows Phone in Windows Phone 8. The next thing I want to show is an example of how that shared HTML and JavaScript componentry makes websites incredibly performant and compatible between the phone and the Windows PC. So I'm going to scroll down here where I've got a site set as a live tile. This site is called the Fountain of Apps. This is an HTML5 site that takes advantage of the new HTML5 support in IE10 on the desktop and on the phone, and gives the user an awesome visual, high-performance look at the apps that are now available in the Windows Phone Marketplace. And one of the cool things about the HTML5 support that we're getting from this shared code and that's implemented in Windows Phone 8 is its support for touch events. So you can see as I touch on this, there's this cool 3D visualization I can do and spin the fountain around. I can let it run again, spin the fountain around, and it's very smooth, fast and fluid, high performant. It's that hardware acceleration that you've seen from IE10 with HTML5 Canvas implemented as part of the shared core componentry on the phone as well. And that shared code componentry gives benefits because the same technology runs on the PC as well. The next thing I want to show, having talked about IE as a means for web developers to create websites on common code, is to talk about application writers and how they can take advantage of that common code to make it much easier to target apps for both the PC and the phone. And actually, in this case, I'm going to start on the Windows 8 Slate. And what I'm going to do is move over here. We've installed, if you look right here, I've got a tile for the Windows SDK DirectX Marble Maze game. This is a game sample that ships as part of the Windows 8 SDK. It's been in the SDK for a while. Those of you who are developers and have tried the SDK have seen Marble Maze already. I'm going to show you how this looks. It's a game that uses DirectX, so you get all the hardware accelerated benefits of DirectX. There's textures. It uses the accelerometer for motion. It's pretty straightforward. Here it is running on my PC, and many of you have seen this already because it's part of the SDK. But what I want to show you, what I want to show you is that same SDK sample moved with incredibly small code changes to run on the phone as well. And so here I am with Marble Maze on my phone. And, you know, the exciting news is that it looks just like Marble Maze on the PC, and it plays just like Marble Maze on the PC. And it was an incredibly easy effort to take that SDK sample and get it running on the phone in a high-performant, ultra-smooth kind of way. And the reason why is that the same DirectX componentry, graphics support, exists on the PC and the phone. It's so easy for developers to move because all the complicated parts of their apps just work. The things that you need to consider in moving from one device to another is really the form factor change. There's a smaller screen. You have to think a little bit about touch resolution. In the case of this Marble Maze game, because it's based on the accelerometer, there's really almost no changes made.